Farming is hard, but harder still for LGBTQIA plus people working in agriculture. 2 New South Wales farmers found coming to terms with their sexuality difficult. But when they came out as gay, they found support in their rural communities. They told their stories to Newcastle reporter Keely Johnson.
John Wright was born and bred a farmer. He runs a grazing property at Woodstock near Cowra in the New South Wales Central West.
Yeah, I've just always had a love for cattle, a love for the beef industry, love for farming.
He has a particular interest in genetics and breeding.
I did ag science at uni and then worked on a research farm after I left university, and that exposed me to some really interesting research which I thought was going to be fantastic and a big part of the beef industry. And so I decided to come home to the farm and cross 2 breeds together and give it a name and start selecting for feed efficiency.
For the past 2 decades, John's been breeding a line of cattle he calls Bluey, a combination of Shorthorn, Angus and Simmental genetics to improve feed efficiency.
You know, the power of feed efficiency is really quite amazing, and what it can do within the industry and what it can do to your breeding cattle. And one of the really exciting parts is that, you know, high feed converting animals produce less methane, so that's really a focus we're really starting to get into at the moment, and there's a lot of people who are very interested in that area, obviously.
As a 4th-generation farmer, his passion for working the land runs as deep as any other's. But at 28, he distinguished himself from most other farmers by coming out as gay.
I guess the relief was just not having to lie anymore, not put out any fires anymore, just to be able to be yourself. And, you know, I was always given the support and the love from the people around me to know that I never for once thought that anyone was going to reject me. Once I came out, it was really just having the courage to say, well, this is done now. You know, I've just got to get on with life and full steam ahead.
Contrary to often common misconceptions, John wasn't ostracised, but felt supported by his wider community, even if it took some a little time to get used to the idea.
And I really did not suffer anything at all in relation to people accepting, and I'm sure there were people out there that weren't comfortable with the fact that I was gay, but those people just moved back. I moved away from them, maybe made a bit of space until those people had the sort of time to work out whether they wanted to be friends with me or not.
But he can attest the gay community in regional Australia can be hard to find.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't call Cowra the gay centre of New South Wales or Australia. Once I did come out, I certainly burned a few litres of diesel driving backwards and forwards to Sydney every weekend or every second weekend, just to be in a community and just to be in a place where, you know, I knew everybody in the room was gay, which was, you know, my experience was wherever I was before, I sort of virtually knew everybody in the room wasn't gay.
John says his story isn't unusual. He sees many of the LGBTQIA plus youth in his hometown also head to the big cities to find kindred spirits.
We've got a bit of a journey still to go on for people to feel comfortable to stay in the community, find a job or a style of work, or stay in agriculture, even though they're gay. I think that's probably got a little bit of a way to go, but it's certainly improving. I always make a simile to sort of men's sport. You know, why can you count the number of, you know, males that are gay coming out while they're in professional sport? You can count them on one hand. There's a reason for that, and I think that's a bit the same in the country.
Despite the attraction to the big city, John just couldn't bring himself to move away.
There's many times when I thought, you know, maybe I should leave the farm and go to Sydney and start pulling beers or something like that to get myself in amongst the community, but the draw was never strong enough to make me leave the farm. And one of the things that energises me is just the environment I'm in, the aesthetics of the surround, the love of caring for animals and looking after animals, and, you know, that gives me so much joy that there's no way I'm going to throw that away for anything.
Although it has meant finding a partner in a small country town is a challenge.
I'm content in myself and still hoping that maybe I'll meet somebody one day, but it does not dominate my life anymore, and I'm concentrated on what I do and trying to be a good person and contribute to my industry if I can.
He also knows without children, he'll be the last generation to farm the property.
Our situation is that we have no next generation to take over the farm, and that's a reality that all of this will be sold at some stage. I've also come to terms with that. That's fine. The issue of not being able to have children is another whole story, and it's a story that I don't hear talked about that much in the gay world, but certainly I know that for me, the struggle in coming out was coming to terms with that fact that I wouldn't be able to have children. I know some do, but it's a small percentage, and we need to keep on improving circumstances in that area.
John believes society is more accepting of homosexuality and is becoming even more so with each generation.
I just want people to be able to experience life as they want to, and if there's people who are not staying in agriculture because they think they won't be accepted because of their sexuality, then that's really sad. And I think we're on the road to improving that.
It's an experience Hunter Valley goat farmer Alex Berry can relate to. He feared being shunned for being gay when he came out at 25, but it just didn't happen. Like John, he doesn't want to be defined by his sexuality. He's a farmer first and foremost.
I'd rather be known as the goat man than the gay man. And a lot of my friends and other family members, that's who I am. I'm the goat man. So I suppose I've copped more slack of being a goat man than being the gay man, so.
Alex Berry and his partner Brad Dillon are both from farming backgrounds. Their grandparents owned neighbouring dairy farms in the Hunter Valley. On their 20-hectare property at Seaham near Newcastle, Alex runs a boutique goat dairy, while Brad, an equestrian rider, manages horses.
I don't think I could be with anyone other than someone who shares that kind of passion of outside and agriculture, really. I would rather a $1 million barn than a $1 million house.
Alex's family and friends gave him every support when he announced he was gay.
I was worried that I'd be shunned. Completely not the case at all.
He's determined to not be defined by his sexuality and rejects the stereotypical image of a gay man.
I never wanted to be like what the iconic gay man was supposed to be. It scared me. It still does. What? It's not me, it never will be. Yes. Being who I am is a farmer. I'm Alex. I go and look after goats. I go to work. I work hard.
His parents shifted from dairy cows to goats during the drought in 2007. Alex went on to start his own goat dairy, milking 200 goats, but has since downsized to focus on breeding and judging.
But I had an opportunity to go to America, and I jumped at that chance. And basically, I fell in love with a breed called La Manchas, and they're an earless breed.
After 5 years, he finally had approval to import La Mancha genetic material to start breeding them.
They're higher in casein protein, so we get more yield of product. So instead of milking 200 goats, I'm now milking 20. Not getting the same yield, obviously, but the yield and components are greater, so instead of milking 40 goats, I only have to milk 20. And the cheesemaker gets the right amount of product to then on-sell at farmers markets.
Life is all about farming for Alex, but he's conscious being a gay farmer can still make some uncomfortable.
I take my hat off to those before us that had to do it a lot harder and be subject to hate. And look, there's still hate. The world is full of hate. But it comes down to a bit of self-respect as well.
For Alex, his identity is all about being a farmer, not a stereotype.
It's a tough gig to be gay, man or woman, in any industry, let alone agriculture. But I think being subjected to a generic stamp is even tougher.